Hey, Stoic warriors, your mind is under attack, and it's happening so quietly you've started calling it normal. Every distraction, every negative loop, every opinion you absorb without question, it's chipping away at your focus, your clarity, your control. You wake up, and the noise is already there, pulling your thoughts in every direction, before you even get a chance to think for yourself. And the worst part, most people don't fight it. They feed it. They scroll, they react, they entertain everything that weakens them. But there's a different way to live, where your mind becomes guarded, disciplined, untouchable. Because once you take control of what enters and stays in your mind, nothing can control you anymore. And I need you to understand something before we go any further. This is not about positivity. This is not about repeating affirmations in the mirror and hoping something changes. This is about survival, mental survival. Because the world you are living in right now was not built to make you sharp. It was built to make you manageable, distracted, dependent, emotionally reactive to things that were never yours to carry in the first place. You have felt it. That moment when you sit down to do something that matters, and within 60 seconds, your own mind pulls you somewhere else entirely. Not because you're weak, but because something trained it to do that. Slowly, repeatedly, until restlessness started to feel like your natural state, until silence started to feel uncomfortable, until you started needing noise just to feel normal. Marcus Aurelius, a man who carried the weight of an entire empire on his shoulders, who faced war, betrayal, and loss in the same lifetime, wrote something that has outlived every kingdom that existed in his era. He said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, not your circumstances, not your past, not what people did to you or said about you, the quality of your thoughts." Which means the moment you stop being intentional about what lives in your mind, you hand your peace over to whatever is loudest around you. And right now, a lot of very loud things are competing for your attention. Every notification is a leash. Every opinion you scroll past leaves a residue. Every time you abandon a thought halfway through because something more stimulating appeared, your mind gets a little softer, a little more scattered, a little easier to pull apart. And you wonder why you feel mentally exhausted without having done anything meaningful. You wonder why you start things and can't finish them. You wonder why you know exactly what you should do and still don't do it. That gap between knowing and doing, that is where the attack lives. So, what we are about to do together is walk through the 5 ways your mind is being dismantled without your permission. 5 real, deep, uncomfortable truths that most people sense but never name. And once you name something, once you see it clearly, it loses its power over you completely. This is where you stop being a passenger in your own mind. This is where the reclamation begins. Type this in the comments: I am unbreakable. Now let's get into it. Point number 1. You stopped guarding the gate of your mind. There is a gate to your mind, and at some point in your life, you stopped guarding it. Not because you gave up, but because the world made it feel unnecessary, because everyone around you had their gate wide open too. So it started to feel like that was just how life was. You let people's opinions walk in uninvited. You let news that had nothing to do with your life set the emotional tone of your entire day. You let conversations that should have lasted 2 minutes live rent-free in your head for 2 weeks. And every single time something entered without your permission, it rearranged something inside you, quietly, without announcement. Epictetus, a man who was born into slavery, who owned nothing, who had every external freedom stripped from him, understood something that most free people never figure out. He said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Read that again. He wasn't talking about freedom from chains. He was talking about freedom from the unguarded mind, because a man who cannot control what enters his thoughts is enslaved regardless of what his circumstances look like from the outside. Think about the last time someone said something to you, something dismissive, something cruel, something careless, and days later you were still reconstructing the conversation in your mind, still formulating the perfect response, still feeling the weight of words that the person who said them probably forgot about before they even finished saying them. That is an unguarded gate. That is someone else living in your mental space without paying a single price for the damage they caused. And it compounds. Every day you leave that gate open, something new walks through. A comparison that deflates you. A fear someone else planted. A standard that was never yours to meet but somehow became the measuring stick for your entire self-worth. The Stoics called this discipline of perception, the practice of consciously choosing what you give weight to, not suppressing emotion, not pretending nothing affects you, but deciding with full awareness what deserves space in the most powerful real estate you will ever own. Your mind is not a public space. It is a private kingdom, and a kingdom without walls is just land waiting to be conquered. Start guarding the gate, not tomorrow, right now, with this very moment of awareness you are standing in. Point number 2. Your emotions are being used as weapons against you. You were never taught how to feel. You were taught how to perform feeling. And there is a devastating difference between the two. From the time you were young, you were shown that emotions were either weapons or weaknesses. People used anger to control rooms. People used guilt to manipulate loyalty. People used sadness to extract attention. And you watched all of it, absorbed all of it. And somewhere deep in your psychology, you started connecting emotions to outcomes rather than truth. You started using your own feelings against yourself before anyone else even had the chance to. And now, right now, every algorithm, every media cycle, every carefully engineered piece of content you consume knows this about you. They know that an emotionally activated mind is a mind that cannot think clearly. An angry person clicks, a fearful person shares, an insecure person buys. Your emotional reactions are not just personal experiences. They are data points being harvested and weaponized to keep you perpetually unstable, perpetually reacting, perpetually controllable. Seneca wrote something that cuts right through the noise of every era it has ever been read in. He said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And that one line holds more psychological weight than most people are equipped to carry. Because the suffering you experience most, the suffering that drains you at 3 in the morning, that follows you into rooms where nothing is even wrong, is constructed, not by your enemies, by your own unguarded emotional mind, replaying, catastrophizing, preparing for wars that never arrive. This is not a flaw in your character. This is what happens when nobody teaches you that emotions are information, not instructions. You are allowed to feel everything, but you are not obligated to act from everything you feel. That distinction alone can change the entire architecture of your life. The person who learns to pause between feeling and response, that person becomes almost impossible to manipulate, almost impossible to break, because they have removed the automatic reaction that the world depends on to keep them small, distracted, and emotionally bankrupt. Feel deeply, but think first, move second, and never, never let someone else's chaos become the emergency that derails your entire direction. Your emotions are your power. Stop letting the world use them as your weakness. Point number 3. You have been trained to doubt yourself. Nobody sat you down and told you that you weren't capable. It was never that direct. It was quieter than that, more surgical. It was the dismissive look when you shared an idea, the laugh that came a half-second too early, the parent who meant well but always followed your excitement with a reason it probably wouldn't work, the teacher who graded your potential against a rubric that was never designed to measure what you were actually capable of, the friend who got uncomfortable every time you started growing. Because your growth was a mirror they didn't want to look into, and piece by piece, repetition by repetition, your own internal voice started sounding less like you and more like every person who ever made you feel like too much or not enough. That is not self-doubt. That is installed doubt. And there is a profound difference. Self-doubt comes from within, from genuine reflection, from honest assessment of where you are versus where you want to be. Installed doubt was handed to you by people who were themselves afraid, people who confused their own limitations with universal truth and passed it down like inheritance. And you received it. You carried it. You built an entire internal architecture around beliefs that were never even yours to begin with. The Stoic concept of oikeiosis, often translated as self-ownership, speaks to the idea that every human being has a natural affinity toward their own reason, their own capacity, their own inherent worth. Marcus Aurelius returned to this again and again in his meditations, reminding himself, confine yourself to the present, because doubt lives in the distorted past and the imagined future. It cannot survive in the sharpness of this moment. Every time you second-guess a decision you already made with full sincerity, you are not being careful. You are being haunted. Every time you shrink in a room where you have every right to take up space, you are not being humble. You are being obedient to a version of yourself that someone else authored. The most radical act of your life will not be something you do externally. It will be the day you look at the doubt that has lived inside you for years, and you say with absolute clarity, that was never mine, and you put it down, for good, without looking back. Point number 4. You are consuming more than you are becoming. You know more than you have ever known in human history, and you are doing less with it than any generation before you ever did, with far less. That is not an insult. That is a pattern worth examining with brutal honesty. Because somewhere in the last decade, consuming information started feeling like progress. Watching someone build something started feeling like building. Reading about discipline started feeling like being disciplined. And your mind, which cannot distinguish between absorbing and acting, gave you the same small dopamine reward for both. So you kept consuming, and the doing kept getting postponed, not cancelled, just postponed. Always one more video, one more podcast, one more thread away from the version of yourself you keep preparing to become. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, did not build one of the most enduring philosophical schools in human history by consuming the ideas of others endlessly. He walked, he questioned, he engaged. He built something from what he internalized. He did not simply collect it. The Stoics were relentlessly practical. They had one standard for everything. Does this make you better in action? Not in theory. Not in conversation. In action. There is a version of you that has been ready for a long time. Ready to start. Ready to commit. Ready to stop waiting for the perfect moment that the consuming mind keeps promising is just around the corner. But the perfect moment is a myth that only the inactive mind believes in. The people you admire most did not wait until they felt ready. They moved while terrified. They built while uncertain. They acted while the doubt was still loud, because they understood that clarity comes from motion, not from preparation. Every hour you spend consuming what you should be creating is an hour borrowed from the person you are supposed to evolve into. Every day you spend watching others execute the vision that lives inside you is a day that vision gets a little quieter, a little more distant, a little easier to dismiss as unrealistic. You are not here to be a spectator of greatness. You are not here to be informed about transformation. You are here to be transformed. And transformation does not happen in your feed. It happens in the moments you close everything and begin. Point number 5. The noise around you is louder than the voice within you. There is a voice inside you. You have heard it. In the rare moments of genuine silence, between the noise, between the obligations, between the performance of being whoever everyone needs you to be, it speaks. And what it says is always more honest than anything the outside world has ever told you. It tells you when something is wrong before your logic catches up. It tells you when a path is not yours, even when everyone around you is convinced it should be. It tells you who you actually are, underneath the persona you constructed to survive the rooms you had to survive. That voice is not mystical. It is not poetic fantasy. It is the deepest, most uncorrupted part of your intelligence. The Stoics called it logos. The inner reason, the guiding principle that every human being carries as their most sacred possession. And the world has spent considerable energy making sure you cannot hear it, not through one dramatic act of silencing, but through saturation. Fill every moment with content. Fill every silence with sound. Fill every commute, every meal, every moment before sleep with something external to consume, and the inner voice gradually gets buried under the weight of everything else, until you forget it was there, until you start making decisions based entirely on external noise, what people expect, what trends demand, what fear recommends. Because the internal compass has been drowned out for so long, you stopped trusting it existed. Ryan Holiday, one of the most respected modern interpreters of Stoic philosophy, writes about this with devastating clarity in his work. The idea that stillness is not a luxury. It is a necessity. That the greatest minds in history, from Marcus Aurelius to figures far beyond philosophy, all returned to silence, not as an escape from life, but as the place where they could finally hear themselves think with full clarity. You need that silence, not the silence of isolation or withdrawal, the silence of intention, the silence that says, for this moment, the world can wait, because nothing outside of me is more important than hearing the person I actually am. When you learn to hear that voice again, and more importantly, when you learn to trust it above the noise, above the opinions, above the comfortable lies that keep you stationary, something shifts in you that cannot be reversed. You stop living reactively. You stop performing. You stop outsourcing your direction to people who cannot even navigate their own. You become singular, focused, frighteningly clear about who you are and where you are going. And a mind that clear, a mind that connected to its own truth, is genuinely, completely unstoppable. So, here is where we land, and I need you to stay with me for just another moment, because this is the part that actually matters. Everything we walked through today, the unguarded gate, the weaponized emotions, the installed doubt, the consuming instead of becoming, the noise drowning out your inner voice, none of it is permanent. None of it is your identity. None of it is the final word on who you are and what your mind is capable of. They are patterns, and patterns can be broken. Not by wishing, not by watching one more video and feeling inspired for 45 minutes before the old habits return, but by making a decision, a real, non-negotiable, deeply personal decision, that you are no longer available for the version of yourself that the attack was designed to produce. Marcus Aurelius fought his mind every single day of his reign. He wrote his meditations not as wisdom to share with the world, but as daily instructions to himself, from himself, about who he refused to stop becoming. He never claimed to be finished. He claimed to be committed. And that commitment, that daily, unglamorous, unsexy return to the work of the mind, is what made him one of the most enduring human beings who ever lived. You do not need to be an emperor. You do not need a legacy carved in stone. You just need to decide, today, in this moment, that your mind belongs to you, that your thoughts are yours to direct, that your attention is yours to protect, that your life is yours to author. The attack is real, but so is your ability to end it. The war for your mind starts and ends with one choice. Make it. Type this in the comments. My mind wins.